Okay.
Thanks.
Public art is opposed to art in museums or in private places. Public art is the art that we see in the street, that we don't have to pay a ticket.
Sorry, this is a really unidirectional mic. There you go. Just
Okay.
like that. There you go.
Okay. We have different types of public art. Public art is the art that we see in the street, in the roundabouts, in squares, etc. The first and the oldest type of public art that we know of is statues and monuments. And in this PowerPoint, I have different images of public art in France, in Paris, and in some cities in the Arab world. That's an example of a monument, a statue. It's a statue of King Louis XIV. It's a copy of a Bernini statue. The original is in Versailles, and this one is in the Louvre, in front of the glass pyramid in the Louvre. So that's an example of statues, monuments. Another type of public art is sculpture. Sculpture, many cities, ministries of culture and stuff, they commission artists to, sculptures actually, to provide sculptures, representational or non-representational. These sculptures, we see them in parks, in streets, in roundabouts, and they are usually made from long-lasting materials that can withstand weather. Well, here I have some examples of statues and sculptures in Paris. That's a sculpture by Jean Dubuffet in Paris. It was first commissioned actually by the National Gallery in Washington, D.C. in 1973. And it's in Paris now. It's like a 6-meter sculpture. That's another one. It's also in Paris. It was commissioned by the hospitals of Paris. And it's in front of the Robert Debré Hospital. It's called the accueillant, the person who is greeting, and that's why the sculpture is like a sort of a person who is waving. That's another view of the same sculpture. That's another artist, he's called César. Many of us know César because we also have sculptures of César in the city of Jeddah, mainly the fist. The sculpture is in bronze. It's called the Centaur. It's a homage to Picasso, and it's in the neighborhood of Saint-Germain-des-Prés. That's another view of the same sculpture. Here we have a different sculpture. It's made of sandstone. It's called the Listener. It's in front of the Saint Eustache Church. It's on a paved square. It represents a head with a fist, representing a person listening. Maybe many of you know the sculpture. It's an installation, actually. It's in the entrance of the subway of Palais Royal in Paris also. It's made of glass beads, Murano glass beads, like 800 glass beads, and it represents, I'm going to show other images. It represents 2 cupolas, one representing the day and the other one representing the night.
Where is this again?
Palais Royal, the subway of Palais Royal. And it was actually commissioned, and it was done on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the creation of the Paris Metro. And it's 2 cupolas. It's called actually the kiosk of the night walkers, the people who walk by night. So you have 2 cupolas, and you have a bench underneath. And that's the entrance. We can see the entrance of the subway made of aluminum. These are the famous Bourraine columns in front of the 17th century Palais Royal building. So they're columns, 2 heights, and they're striped black and white. In the beginning, when they were commissioned, there was a big controversy because they were considered very modern. But then now they've become very popular. Lots of tourists, they go there to take photos. They stand on the columns. You have skateboarders also who go there. That's another view. Now, this is Alexandria because I wanted also to show some examples in the Arab world. In the year 2000, there was a mayor in Alexandria who wanted to embellish the city and who commissioned many artists to do sculptures. So this is one of the sculptures. It's placed on the corniche of Alexandria, and it represents a globe, an orbit actually, with planets moving around it. That's another one. It's a stained glass globe, and it represents the city of Alexandria. You can see the sun up, you can see the citadel, and you can see the sea beneath them. That's a half-circled globe, also in Alexandria, representing the city of Alexandria, and beside you have a column with the head of Alexander the Great. Behind it you have a wall where it is written, Alexander is buried somewhere here. Sorry. Well, that's a statue representing Alexander the Great holding the key of Alexandria. It's also in Alexandria. Another art installation on the corniche. It's like representing the quest for science. A man running towards an astrolabe with books, encyclopedias behind him. Now, fountains is another example also of public art. Some of them are very sophisticated, electronic, musical. Other ones are classical. Among the very famous fountains in Paris is the Stravinsky fountain in front of the Pompidou Center.
Excuse me for a second. How many different categories do you have?
I have two more, I think.
Two more. Okay, I was just saying you don't have to describe each one because I want to ask you some questions afterwards
okay,
as well.
Okay, so we have some images of the Stravinsky fountain done by two artists, Niki de Saint-Phal and Jean Tinguely. That's in Alexandria. It's a fountain representing an ink pot and a feather. That's also in Paris. It's a famous fountain called the Well of Time by Haber. Same fountain, sorry. That's in Alexandria. It's a fountain in the shape of an Islamic jar. And then you have, of course, another form of public art is performance art.
Live performance art.
Live performance art. So that's a French group, actually, that was invited in Amman in Jordan by the French Cultural Center, and they are performing. The last kind of public art, almost the last that I have, is graffiti. And we have different kinds of, this is an area in Paris, it's a 19th area, a 19th arrondissement neighborhood. It's like a melting pot with lots of ethnies living there, and that's why in the graffiti you can see calligraphy, Arabic calligraphy, you can see, I don't know, it's called Belleville, the area.
Good. Now, have they been able to limit the graffiti? When did it become a point where this went from nuisance to art, and then could they, in a sense, confine it to the 19th arrondissement or not?
No, it's not confined to it's not confined to the 19th arrondissement, because graffiti was always considered and is considered like a sort of a crime. But in this area, it's like you have paved streets and stuff like this, so people, they have the right to do graffiti. And you have like you see Africans, they do portraits of African singers. This is an Arabic calligraphy of the area called Belleville, and it's in Arabic. Right. Actually, it's Kufic calligraphy. So and this is also a sculpture with Arabic calligraphy in Paris in the 19th area. So what I'm trying to say is that in some areas it is allowed, it has been allowed, and other areas it's still prohibited. That's another also example of graffiti, of calligraphy in the same area.
These are from Algerian or Tunisian immigrants, or what's the influence?
Algerian, Moroccan, Tunisian immigrants, yeah.
Okay, very good.
That's Ben, the famous French artist Ben. It's a painting that says, "Be aware of words," and it's also on the facade, no, actually on the side of a building in the same area. Then, of course, you have posters and billboards in cities, and these are the less durable forms of public art. This is in Egypt. It's you have different posters for cinemas, for shows. This is in Paris, a poster representing a woman, and finally a poster representing the Mona Lisa.
Great. If you want to